of their history, and that they do not understand why it is good to be a German. I think that's a tragedy, and I think the whole world is robbed because of that. It's something that needs to be corrected.
Yeah, I want to make a proposal because today it's this 18th January. It's very important, not even for the German Reich, the second, because you know the first, the Holy Roman Reich of Germanation was finished with Napoleon and Congress of Vienna. But without this date, the Germany as it is nowadays, today, it would not exist because Bismarck unified so many small countries after Napoleon's war against total Europe. I may say there were 300 several governments all over Germany, and Bismarck's work was the struggle and the fight for unification of a smaller part of Germany, because the whole in the greater solution was not possible. So he took the northern part, and after over 60 years, or about 60 years, he managed it to get this unification about the so-called unification wars with Denmark, with the Danish War, the German War, and the last, the third, with France. And so only with these battles it was possible to get this. It does not go by words, as you know. We can think what we want. In that area there were strong Gegner, competitors, and around Germany who looked, and it's even nowadays, they are very suspicious what has a German mind, what they are thinking, what they are doing, and it's always these bad look that we would throw down the world, we would overthrow all the other countries in the world. What is propaganda?
Bert, I am very empathetic with what you are saying right now. I have been aware of the great oil painting of Otto von Bismarck and Wilhelm I, and that history of 1871. I've been aware of that for a very long time. That should be a significant and proud moment in German history. But it is only one thing, just one thing, that is indicative of what needs to be fixed in Germany today. I've been teaching for 34 years, Bernd and Patrick, 34 years, and I've had many, many very bright German students.
You would just put a picture that, I don't know if you mean this famous image or picture.
Yes, the painting.
Yeah.
The famous painting
from
1871.
At the time.
Yes, but I have been familiar with that and with the history that led up to it.
Perhaps for also viewers, which we see after our conversation, that can not only by words, because pictures speak more than 1,000 words.
Yes, it does. That is a beautiful oil painting that represents a proud moment in German history. Now, let me say something, because in 34 years of teaching with many, many German students, more than half of them would accept American citizenship if I offered it to them. What does that tell you about Germans' attitude towards their history? When more than half of the brightest young people in Germany want to run away, that means they don't know their history and they don't have the right perspective on their history.
Sure.
Do you agree? Yeah.
It's a tragedy because it's not only once in a decade that the people go. They go all the time, every year. About 200,000 people, young people who have very good education. They leave Germany and they go to America, to Switzerland, to Scandinavia, where they can make a fortune. Because in Germany they say we would have a lack of good workers. We have no lack. They don't get the work which is in a fair way good paid, and so they have to go because they can't. Germans, I mean from German origin. Others, it's another question. They take other people inside because we would have a lack. That's not true. We have so many people without work. And over decades, there is no aim or official politics that would do any work for changing this tragedy.
Bert, there's no incentive for your government to change this situation.
Yeah, sure. As you know,
they benefit from the status quo.
It is just describing
200,000 that leave, but there's another 300 or 400,000 who would leave if they got the chance.
Sure.
If I offered them, here is American citizenship, you can have it, they would take it and be gone. It's not to get rich. That's a mistake. It is not so they can go and get rich. They are not greedy young Germans. They want to feel proud and they want to feel free. And they don't want someone looking over they don't have to look over their shoulder all the time to see who's listening, who's judging, who's criticizing. They're not leaving to get rich. They're leaving to be free.
Sure. Professor Töll, I would make a proposal. I have prepared some clips, I would say. One is from Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the highest politician in Germany. It's not, you can't, as you know, compare the German situation with America, where the president has much more power. He is only a representative. But it's about only 2 minutes, and you, as I've seen in videos, you are quite good in German understanding. I suggest that we just look inside. We make this clip about 2 minutes. There are so many words and parts in it which where we can afterwards refer to.
Yes, Bert, you may run that clip. I have met Steinmeier at Harvard University and have spoken with him.
Oh,
so you're welcome to run the clip if you wish.
Good. Thank you.
Sehr verehrte Damen und Herren, liebe Gäste, von der verspäteten Nation sprach Helmut Plessner, vom ruhelosen Reich Michael Stürmer, von einer nervösen Großmacht Volker Ulrich, vom Machtstaat vor der Demokratie Thomas Nipperdey. Immer wieder haben Historiker das Deutsche Kaiserreich als Problemfall der deutschen Geschichte charakterisiert, nicht nur, aber auch an Gedenktagen. Gedenktage kommen ungerufen, stellte Gustav Heinemann aus Anlass des 100. Jahrestages der Gründung des Deutschen Reiches fest. Heinemanns Unbehagen ging tiefer. Er sah keinen Grund zur Feier einer Reichsgründung, die ein Jahrhundert zuvor wohl für die Herstellung der äußeren Einheit Deutschlands gesorgt hatte, aber weder für die innere Einheit und Freiheit seiner Bürgerinnen und Bürger noch für äußeren Frieden. Zum Anlass des Gedenkens dem am 18. Januar 1871 in Versailles proklamierten Kaiserreich hatte die deutsche Nachkriegsgesellschaft erst recht nach der Teilung des Landes auf beiden Seiten der innerdeutschen Grenze kein Verhältnis gefunden. Heute, mitten in einer Pandemie und unter den Bedingungen von Reise- und Kontaktbeschränkungen, möchte man sagen, Gedenktage kommen mitunter nicht nur ungerufen, sondern auch ungelegen. Nach einer nationalen Feier der Reichsgründung verlangt, so mein Eindruck, heute niemand. Der 18. Januar ist kein Datum, das im kollektiven Gedächtnis der Deutschen wirklich präsent ist. Und wer mit dem Tag der Ausrufung Wilhelms I. zum deutschen Kaiser im Schloss von Versailles noch etwas verbindet, der hegt wohl bestenfalls zwiespältige Gefühle für ein Ereignis, dessen triumphale Geste nicht nur den unterlegenen Kriegsgegner Frankreich demütigen sollte, sondern auch ein Reich begründete, an dessen Ende erneut ein Krieg mit Frankreich stand. Wir Deutschen stehen dem Kaiserreich heute so beziehungslos gegenüber wie den Denkmalen und Statuen von Königen, Kaisern und Feldherren aus dieser Epoche. Sie sind hier in Berlin und natürlich an vielen anderen Orten zwar im Stadtbild präsent, aber sie entfalten keine prägende Kraft. Es scheint eine stumm gewordene Kulisse zu sein, die den meisten nichts mehr sagt. Wiederaufgebaute Architektur wie das Berliner Stadtschloss, die auf das preußisch geprägte Reich zurückweist, muss eine neue Identität und Bestimmung in der Demokratie erst noch finden, was schwer ist, wie wir wissen und sehen. Unsere Perspektive auf diese Epoche deutscher Geschichte ist gebrochen, schon durch die Kriege, mit denen die Einheit erzwungen wurde, vor allem aber durch die Katastrophen des 20. Jahrhunderts. Einen ungetrübten Blick zurück auf das Kaiserreich, vorbei an Völkermord, an 2 Weltkriegen und einer von ihren Feinden zerstörten Republik, gibt es nicht und kann es nicht geben. Doch eben genau das macht den Blick zurück so notwendig, interessant und lehrreich. Kontinuität und Zwangsläufigkeit sind eben nicht dasselbe. Ja, es gibt sie, die Heerstraße, die alle Kriege von 1871 bis 1945 verbindet. Doch das heißt nicht, dass es keine Wege gab, die in andere Richtungen und zu anderen Entwicklungen hätten führen können und die man hätte beschreiten können. Wer die Geschichte nur vom Ende her liest, vergibt jede Chance auf Erkenntnis. Der übersieht Handlungsspielräume und auch persönliche Verantwortung.
It was only a small part. I don't want to bring it all because 25 minutes or half an hour. It's like how you call it. It would be harming you. I don't want to harm your feelings, or because it's so. It's not ridiculous. It's so ashaming. What this man is talking about. There is no pathos. There is no honor. There is no pride. It's only this, as you also in other conversations several times told.
Do you want, Bert, do you want my comment on the video?
Sure.
Okay. There's kein Leidenschaft.
Yep.
There is an apologetische Natur, an Entschuldigung, an immer Entschuldigung, sort of a Troic nature to it. It's almost apologizing. So there's no enthusiasm, kein Leidenschaft.
Yep.
Where is the good feeling, the gute Laune for the German people?
No, it is. There is no light. There is no fire. There is only these. There's no straightness.
No, no, and that's on purpose.
Sure.
There, Patrick, that's on purpose, because your leaders, ausgerechnet, of all people, your leaders actually keep the German people small and down. Small and down. Okay? That is a purposeful thing.
Yeah, sure, that's also the doctrine of the NATO. The General Secretary of NATO, Mr. Ismail, he called it to let the Soviets out, the Germans down, and us in. And nothing has changed. 75 years ago, it is even when they say there would be no occupation now, Germany would be free. That's everyone knows who looks with clear eyes and feelings that sure, here is occupation and nothing else.
Bernd, what the word that comes to me auf Deutsch is the unsterbliche Blamieren. Blamieren.
Yeah.
Unsterbliche Blamieren. And that is the policy that is unchanged.
Sure.
So, but why isn't it being changed? Why isn't there a new 75 years is a long time.
Could we bring in a clip from your homepage from the where you spoke in very clear German, in very easy words, but with much clearness about, I think, your clips are all the time about 2 minutes. There was the one, das Streben nach Wahrheit. And I think for the people who don't know you, it would be an opener to understand your thinking, and also in the way you are talking, what is your purpose, your feeling, your who are you in your personality.
You may, but I think the German is terrible, schrecklich.
No, I can say you. I also would have.
If you want to, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say because sure the people could also on their own find it, but so we make a bit propaganda for your account.
Okay, if you wish.
Ich habe mich darüber gefreut und hätte es nicht erwartet, dass über 10.000 Deutsche meiner ersten Versuch einer Botschaft in deutscher Sprache verfolgt haben. Auch wenn nur ein einziger Deutsch mir zuhört, ist das schon eine Ehre für mich. In der heutigen Botschaft möchte ich euch erklären, was verloren gegangen ist. Das Streben nach Wahrheit in der Freiheit, um der Freiheit willen. Das ist der Grundstein des deutschen Geistes, der alles andere möglich macht. Auf diesem Stein werdet ihr Deutschen ein menschliches Zeitalter herbeiführen, nachdem alle vorherigen Generationen gestrebt haben. Geist, Genie, Vernunft, Bildung sind deutsche Schätze. Kehrt zurück zu diesen kostbaren Gütern. Hier liegt eure Zukunft. Das ist das Gesicht, das die Deutschen der Welt zeigen sollten. Wenn ihr das wiederfindet, werdet ihr eure Selbstachtung wieder erlangen. Es ist gut, ein Deutscher zu sein.
Oh, I would say it's great. Your German is quite good, and it's not such miserable as you perhaps yourself think. It is really, yeah, direct, straight, and with so much empathy. In Germany, no politician ever would use such words in 2 minutes. Never, never.
Well, all of my words come directly out of my heart.
Yeah, it is like,
It's what my heart feels, and that's what I speak. And so until Germans themselves start acting like Germans once again, and asking questions and having courage and taking, being a part of their future, then I have no choice but to speak for them. I have no choice. I've kind of all. As I look at that, and Patrick, it ran about half speed over the deal. So I see an old man, obviously a very old man, and speaking slowly, I sound like a monster. But my heart is right. My love for German people, and that's for all German people, is very pure, and it is very good, and it has been with me from the day I was born. There's nothing I can do about it.
a very nice monster, because for me it sounds like proclamation of love to all of our country and countrymen, and what our people, all of our people. And it's not, it does not sound that you speak in a way of touristic ideas, or that's nice, that's beautiful, or in the normal way when very many Americans come surely to Germany, and they are so the old houses, the big churches. But that's not the manner that you are speaking when you talk about Germany and German.
How can I help you today, Bernd? What can I say to you today that might be helpful to what you're doing?
Perhaps I give a part to Patrick, that he gives you some proposals or some questions, and then we go on.
Yeah, so I'm entrepreneur and manager in IT topics, in IT company, in my own company, and I start with the crisis last year, to networking with other enterprise owners and self-employed people. We have an economic situation. This is with a big global impact. So, and we try to understand how can we bring more security in a networking, in economical networking with other businesses and enterprises. And we're looking also over the Atlantic, to the west, to the east. I would like to know what you think, how the entrepreneurs in Germany can have a new mindset, a new direction to work with other peoples, with other countries, and what can we do for the future to bring more sustainability in our economy.
I understand. When I did my research area at the university for the last 20 years, of course, has been the German model. And when I did significant research into Germany's system their worldwide system, I was absolutely shocked, Patrick, at how huge and deep and broad Germany has, by stealth, built this network, probably in 183 or 184 countries, of infrastructure that you as an entrepreneur should be able to use. It is, of course, it is being used by Siemens and Lufthansa and Daimler-Benz and others, but it is such a well-organized system that it could be used by you as an entrepreneur, but it's being kept down, it's being underutilized, and it's being kept small. Now, it is tremendously funded by 35 or 36 different organizations, government and pseudo-government. But this is an infrastructure that has deep political connections, commercial connections, environmental connections in most countries on earth. There's no reason why entrepreneurs and small businessmen should not have access to this. But Germany pretends to be small, a little country. You know, one vote like Malta. Malta, one vote, Germany, one vote. So this massive infrastructure is not being properly utilized to promote other than the top 20 German businesses. It has resilience, and it should be able to be used by hundreds of thousands of German entrepreneurs to open doors all over the world. You cannot believe the amount of money that has went into building this, and yet most Germans don't even know it exists. So that's my answer.
So I guess the first companies that will be infected from the crisis are the small and the mid-layer companies. Mm-hmm. So, and how do you told that smaller companies have not the entry into such networks and to such support systems? That's correct. So, but the middle class and the politics, all the things makes the difference to a real entrepreneur that will be corrupted from the system, from the crisis. They have not so good backbone or backup like the big companies, and you know this. So with tax situations, etc. So you know this is not a balance in Germany. Mm-hmm. So, and we're looking for smaller, for the mid-layer classes and mid-layer companies. We're looking for solutions. So one topic, what happens with the finance system, for one example. So
if a government, Patrick, wants to make, let's not talk about Germany for a moment. Let's talk about America for a moment, and then you can transfer that to Germany. If a government wants to make small family businesses go away, and the government wants everyone to be more dependent upon the government, then you would have the actions that you have today. I see the same thing in Germany. I see the German government tightening down their control over everyone in Germany. And I'm not sure that they want small businesses to be independent and free.
Yes, we observe the same.
But how to handle this situation? Because it's not a situation that only works in Germany or even only in USA. It's worldwide. It's they talk about you know these agendas, Great Reset from the World Economic Forum. There is a very big agenda with think tanks. The normal people never heard about CFR or the Trilaterale Commission or the Bilderberger and so on. There are so many over-financed power groups, so-called global players. What can, in such a situation, do a system which depends at the moment on a democracy or so-called democracy, where the parties have so much influence? It's over-influence. It's not that the people are asked, as you have seen with also the vote in America, that that was not a real vote, that was a fraud. It's not only in USA that voting systems, and also when they go by envelope or by briefwahl, that they make fraud. I think it's a problem of the so-called Western, or even all the countries all over the world. And in that position, what would be the changing or the moment? And I would be interested how you came to the view or the seeing that you say there will be a storm or a storm. You call it a perfect storm. You know, I've seen your interview with Uta Uligivi, where you use this word perfect storm that will come with springtime, from which matters you take these describing, and the other way, from which point you have the hope that that will be the chance for German people to stand this crisis.
Yes. Well, both of you know, as well as I know, that when Germans are themselves, they are very courageous people. When they are themselves.
Sure.
Okay? Which means, Patrick, you should be asking the question, why can't I have access to this worldwide, highly financed, highly organized system? Why is it only for the biggest companies? There's no reason why you shouldn't have access to it, to open doors to what you want to do. Okay? So the question is, why aren't Germans taking the courage to ask the right questions? Most Germans that I see today have a sense of confusion. They feel an angst. They have no idea where the nation is going. And now Merkel says we're going to continue with her for 5 more years. Laschet is Merkel. Merkel is Laschet. Everyone in Germany knows that. But most Germans are confused. And when Germans are themselves, they'll begin taking the courage to ask questions. Now, that perfect storm has 3 elements to it. Any one of those elements, Merkel and those around her, and it's always the same people. I met almost everyone on her cabinet. It's the same group of people over and over. There's no fresh air in that group. But they have shown that they do not trust German people. They don't speak the truth to German people. They don't give them the whole truth, and they don't involve Germans in their own future. The perfect storm is rising inflation coming from massive borrowing without new productive assets or technologies, and the government is not preparing the population for inflation in the 4% range this spring. There's no preparation to it, okay? Number 2, it has to do with immigration. Angela Merkel knows she can't bring 1 million people in at one time anymore. So now she brings in 30,000 under the table and says, oh, the UN made me do it. And then another 20,000 under the table and says, oh, well, there was a fire in the refugee camp. and then another 20,000. So it's coming in, but people in Germany aren't aware of it. No one's telling them. Most of my college-age German students, real Germans, the only thing that would make them angry is if there's more and more immigration that nobody knows about. Even college students in Germany don't like that idea. So that's number two. And number three is excessive control without plausible explanation. German people are confused by the COVID. They're confused by the lockdowns. They are obedient, but they are confused. You know, you can make people say anything that you want them to say. You can fine them if they don't go along. You can shame them with political correctness if they get out of line. So you can make people with their mouth say anything you want them to say. But you can't change their hearts. You can't change their beliefs. And the more you control people and drive their emotions deeper and deeper, the more stronger those emotions become. So these three things, too much control, excessive control, under the table immigration, and rising inflation without a forthright government telling the people and involving the people, this is three things at the same time that the government cannot handle. And it is not a bad thing for German families. They're not going to suffer. What they're going to get is a new leadership, a leadership who cares deeply for them. That's the perfect storm, Bernd.
But do you think in that kind of structure, as it was built after World War II, or the British, say they don't talk about the First World War or Second World War, they just say the 30-year war. It's like 400 years ago, there was a 30-year war, and the officials, they don't translate it, but the British, they call it the 30-year war when they talk about the Great War, like the French people call it.
I agree.
They implemented several, I would say, structure that prepared the Allies that they can handle us like, how can I call it, perhaps puppets or like children. And when we are in this cage and we try to get free with parliamentarism, with parties, as we see, that doesn't work. 75 years it hadn't worked.
Bernd, as long as you continue acting like children, you'll continue to be treated like children. You're an occupied country today, and you know it, okay?
Sure.
The British mentality about the 30-year war is still alive today. Britain says, we're leaving you, Germany. Scheidung, we're having a divorce. We're leaving you, Germany. But have you noticed they have kept all their beautiful lands in Germany without asking Berlin? Have you noticed that? Okay. It's because you're an occupied country. That's why there's no peace treaty. That's why you act the way you do. When you stopped acting like children, people will stop treating you like children.
Maybe one correction to the investment in my network. I do not looking for established networks. So we have created and built our own network, and it's growing. That was the reason of my question. So maybe you have a suggestion for me how to come better.
I do have another comment for you. There is no greater people on earth for creativity than Germans. Germans have always been creative people, creative in music and creative in literature and creative in science and creative in IT, okay? So you already have the infrastructure in your mind as a German to succeed. I just want you to stand tall, be proud of who you are, and let the freedom bring creativity out of you. Then you'll have more customers than you could ever handle. My goodness, Germans have so much good within them, okay? It's already there, sir.
That's true. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's belonging to individuals, as you say. Sure, we can handle like sovereign people. There are patriots who do their way, and they use also free speech. But as you know, when you get to special points, where it's about sovereignty or self-determination, or even historical themes which have to do with guilt, which we tolerate, even when it's not true. There are so many propaganda views which are nowadays also in school books, what the pupils have to learn. And that makes a feeling of many people really don't know the most. You can nearly say nearly 99% they don't know the real history of Germany or what happened to Germany the last century. It's always only the view of Germans are the penetrators, they are the Tätervolk, they are the forefathers, all what before 1968, all was bad, Bismarck was bad, not only Hitler was bad, all the 1,000 years before, and many people, or the young people, even up to the old people, they believe that.
Bernd, you are not a naive person. I have watched some of your tapes. There's nothing naive about you.
No. Sure.
You know that Germany has no champions outside. You know that, okay? People tolerate Germany because they have money and they can pay for things. But there's no champions that I'm aware of the German people outside. My problem is that inside you need to begin speaking, and that means you have influence. You need to begin speaking about a different future. You need to begin speaking about positive things. You need to not add to the noise that is going on in Germany. I've been in Germany now at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year for over 25 years. The people have become cynical. They have become, they no longer have hope about a future. And what needs to come from you and Patrick is hope, positiveness, a different kind of future where Germans are free to be themselves, to love themselves as Germans and to love other Germans. You know, the government does not encourage Germans to like each other. The government does not encourage you in order to do that. The government is happy to keep you small and down. That's not where you belong. And there are people like you need to be speaking positive messages and showing people with their eyes visually a different future. Hope has to come into Germany. When Germans are themselves, they are a wonderful people, and they have a government that is at one, like the Bundesbank was at one with the finances of Germany. German families trusted the Bundesbank, and they could also trust their government. Today, there's no level of trust. I do not believe that the German government trusts individual Germans with their future or with their lives. I don't believe it. But it has to start with you, sir. I'm not fortunate enough to be a German. You are a German. Sure. And that's what people need to be hearing from you all the time. Okay?
You're not the first person in a high position who spoke in such words to the German people there were the former president of Iran who made love speeches to the German and also the Austrian people. There was also Putin in 2001 in Bundestag, Reichstag, with in a very good speech in good German, the partnership or the belonging between the Russian people and the German people out of the long history we had together. It's not only the last century. It belongs not only 200, 300 years, it's over 1,000 years because we are since a long time, we know each other.
Yes. Now, we've had, I'm afraid my time is running out, but if you will allow me, without laughing at me, to end my time with you with a German phrase that I heard last night on a song, and it actually brought tears to my eyes. The song brought tears to my eyes.
Welcome.
So I'll speak this, and then I'm going to have to say goodbye to you. I'm deeply thankful that you invited me. So
could we perhaps made another when for this day it would be the conversation finish after that, but perhaps we could proceed another time. We could open the conversation again.
Yes, I would be happy to do that. You have treated me very kindly, and I appreciate it. And I would be more than happy to talk to you again.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay. My last statement to you. Unsterblich ist das deutsche Volk, was immer auch geschieht. That was a song that I heard last night. And it actually brought tears to my eyes. Why would that be? Could you understand the German words?
Sure.
Good. Then that's all I have to say.
Thanks a lot for these very clear and short words.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Ich brauch nicht in die Welt hinaus, denn hier bin ich zu Haus. In See und Fluss, in Wald und Feld, in Haus und Hof, bei meinen Liebsten, hier im deutschen Lande. Hier im deutschen Lande, alles was mein Herz begehrt, das schenkt die Heimat mir. Will glücklich sein mit den Kinderlein, so friedlich ist der Sonnenschein. Hier im deutschen Lande, hier im deutschen Lande, unsterblich ist das deutsche Volk, was immer auch geschieht, bis in die Ewigkeit, Seele weit und breit, hier im deutschen Lande, was immer